Hello, everyone. This meeting will be recorded, just so you know. And hi. And it's on self-compassion for educators. Thank you for coming today. The meeting will be recorded and it will be put in the resource bank. The whole idea of self-compassion for educators is the idea that we need to take care of ourselves before we can take care of others. This session is based on the work and book by Canadian author Lisa Baylis, and you will be looking at the 7 C's of resilience, which go beyond candles and bubble bath, and we'll also explore a few mindful practices that can help us treat ourselves with compassion, and therefore treat others with compassion. There will be time at the end for some questions, but if not, or if I don't get to yours, I will. You can contact me in Teams after the meeting, and I will definitely get back to you. So this book was a book that I read this summer. It's called Self-Compassion for Educators. Lisa Baylis is a Canadian. She has her master's degree in counseling and psychology and her bachelor's degree in physical education. She has mostly done her work in BC, and currently she is a high school counselor in the Greater Victoria School District. And she talks about no matter what setting we're in, we need to have positive psychology, self-compassion, and mindfulness. So my story, why is this important to me? The idea of self-care has always been really important, but when I was in university, I was diagnosed with clinical depression, and my mental health is something that I need to be aware of at all times. I need to make sure that I keep balance. I want to be able to give my best at home to my daughter, but also give my best to my students and my colleagues here at school. And so I'm always on the lookout for strategies to be able to ensure that I can be at the best that I can be. I know for me, and one of the things that I appreciated about this book was that when I am in reaction mode versus responding, when I don't have the time to take a moment or a breath and ensure that I am not just reacting to a situation, that for me is a big red flag that I need to ensure that I'm taking some time for myself. This book was suggested to me by a friend this summer. It's a fairly easy read, but it's filled with difficult concepts. It's not a easy thing to put into our lives. But one of the things that I really appreciated about the book is that it really intersected with some other authors that I have already spent time with. So Dr. Jody Carrington, Brené Brown, and Jennifer Moss was our speaker at iLearn in August, and this book definitely intersects with that. So if you are giving up your lunch to be at a lunch and learn to talk about self-compassion for educators, I know that you are already aware of how important this topic is. I'm preaching to the choir basically, but it is important that we can take our mind and take care of ourselves before we begin to try to take care of others. So on Lisa Baylis's website, she has these questions, and for me, they were very telling. Are you feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and weary? My office here is just across from the staff room. It's just across the hall, and I will hear teachers greet one another and EAs greet one another and be like, oh, I'm so tired. Oh man, I just had the weekend, it's Monday and I'm already tired again. So these are just some questions to kind of remind us that this is really important work that we are doing. So the first half of the book, Lisa Baylis talks about us, so tuning into what matters to you. This work for me really intersected with Jody Carrington's books. Baylis reminds us to remember why we are doing this job and to get back to the joy it can bring. She talks about our purpose and our values. The mission statement that she encourages us to write reminds us of our strengths, our purpose, and it gives us permission to say no to things that do not fit within that mission statement. The book has a great chapter that walks you through choosing your core values, looking at what you want in your classroom and in your life, and then what obstacles are in the way to achieve those goals. She concludes with with the mission statement that she encourages us to have as it being very short, that it should include others, that it's changeable, it's not something that's set in stone, and something that you can post. So I have mine behind me here, behind my monitor right here at my office. The next thing that she talks about is connecting our heart and our head. We live in our heads. We're educators. We are always putting knowledge in our heads, but we need to connect our heart. She talks about embodying practices that instill mindful awareness, self-compassion, and sustainable well-being. The mindfulness part is the part that helps us create that space between our stimulus and our response, which I was referring to earlier. It allows us to move from reaction to a thoughtful response. We need to practice this. It does not come naturally. But when we use these practices to help ourselves, we can be examples to our students. One of the exercises that she references in the book, and I know I've read lots of other places, is just using our 5 senses to ground ourselves. So just taking a moment and going, what do I see right now? What do I hear? What do I feel? What do I smell? And what do I taste? Self-compassion. We are quick to extend grace to others, our students and our colleagues, and even our family, but we're very, very hard on ourselves. Self-compassion promotes well-being, helps us relate better with others, and makes us more resilient. It motivates self-improvement and it helps us stay healthy. This for me was really telling. What self-compassion is not. It is not a sign of weakness. It is not selfish, not self-pity, not self-indulgent, and not a form of making excuses, and it will not undermine motivation. She really challenges us in the book to talk to ourselves the way we talk to others. And I know that I would never is a strong word. I would absolutely try not to use shame to motivate one of my students to get something done. That's just not who I would want to be as a teacher. But man, do I do it to myself a lot. And so the idea of treating ourselves, and she has us work through an exercise where we respond to a colleague who's having a hard time, and what do we say to them, and then how do we respond to ourselves when we're having a hard time, and look at the difference between those two things. This will also be something that looks fairly familiar to you, especially those of you that did the journal last year for well-being. The components of well-being, the 7 parts of ourselves that we have. And we talk about having balance in all these areas, but I really appreciated what Baylis said. She talks about the trick not being to achieve balance, but more so to discover a rhythm. With mindful awareness, we can develop wisdom to know when some part of ourself is out of tune. Our well-being practices must be sustainable and personable. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. Think about ways that you already care for yourself and others, then remind yourself to do those things when life becomes difficult. So the next part of the book, so that was kind of the first half, and the second half of the book, she goes into these 7 C's of resilience, 7 things that we can do to help build self-compassion in our lives. And you will see that they move from inner to outer. It starts with us and then it moves out into the world. So the first one she gives us is courage. We first need to have the courage to slow down, ask for what we need, and be brave enough to know we're not okay. We need to permit ourselves to prioritize our well-being. It takes courage to make self-care a non-negotiable. Resilience begins with the courage to go inward, ask hard questions, create space in your life, to lean in and ask for help, and to put yourself first. It takes courage to even know your strengths. The other part that she talks about, and it will remind you of Jody Carrington and as well as Dan Siegel, the courage to allow ourselves and others to experience difficult emotions. So she talks about not being able to go around difficult emotions, but having to go through them. So label and validate the emotion, name it to tame it. And I do this all the time with my students. I Say to them, you're in the red zone. Let's talk about what you're feeling. But I don't do it very often with myself. Then she talks about you need to feel it to heal it. And then you need to respond compassionately by softening the part of your body that feels the discomfort, soothing yourself, and allowing the discomfort to be there. So the second C is curiosity. Once we have the courage, we need to get curious about what it is we truly need. This is a time of exploration and trying different things out to see what works for yourself. Caring for ourselves means tapping into our intuition, our inner wisdom, and having the strength to believe in ourselves. We need to ask ourselves what and why. We can use self-inquiry, and many practices that help with this are meditation, journaling, connecting with a counselor, or talking with a trusted friend. The third C is clear your way. We need to clear our way, open up space physically and metaphorically to heal, grow, and strengthen our resiliency. Let go of the expectation that we can do it all. We can't. We need to let go of things that don't contribute to our well-being. And, oh, it skipped ahead. Sorry about that, guys. Let go of things that don't contribute to our well-being, like unhealthy relationships and bad habits. Go slow, adopt an abundance mindset, cultivate gratitude, and stay as present as possible. This one really reminded me of the whole idea of adopting something new by taking time to adapt things that are somewhat working but not really working well, and abandoning things that are not working well at all. We can't add something new without letting go of something old. We just don't have time to do that. And so if this is something that's going to be a priority, you need to think about the ways that you're going to let go of other things. Number 4 is community. So as you can see, we're moving outwards. We can't do this work alone. We need to learn to ask for help and build our community. Find a team of supporters that you can connect with and ask for help. Look to these people for wisdom, inspiration, ability to help you learn from your mistakes, and to help you become the best version of yourself. As Brené Brown stresses, we are wired for connection. Others, including students, don't care how much we know until they know how much we care. Cultivating care. When we get down to the talk of cultivating the care we need, we identify the components of well-being that we need to attend to in our life. She talks about self-care being structured around different disciplines. So physically, getting exercise, sleep, nutrition, and mindfulness. Being disciplined with our time, that we schedule time for play, joy, and relaxation. And then being disciplined with our mind, creating awe, practicing gratitude, and savoring. This morning, there was a beautiful sunrise. It was coming up over the river as my daughter and I were driving in, and it was just a moment to go, wow. It was just incredible. So taking those moments and recognizing those gifts that they are in our days. Number 6 is creating culture. So we need to build an awareness of our strengths so that we can create a culture that prioritizes well-being. We already do this for our students, but how can we make it a part of our culture as educators? We want to inspire others. We want to know our character strengths. And we want to help ourselves grow with resiliency, create a deeper appreciation for our work, and we want to be more effective instructors, leaders, and connectors. So she gives us some questions that we can ask ourselves. Am I seen? Am I contributing my strengths? Am I in a setting that provides positive feedback? And am I learning and growing in my profession? The last one, of course, is compassion. We hold all of this, our world, our students, and our colleagues, and most of all ourselves, with compassion. When we have compassion, we hold everything we do in love and kindness. A container of compassion keeps everything within us safe and entrusts us with the same amount of care we give out into the world as educators. So this is the image she has in her book, just showing the inner out to the outer. Compassion is fundamental in allowing us to manage the ups and downs that come with this occupation. So in her book, as well as having a spot, lots of activities that you can do and work through. She also, at the end of every chapter, has a reflection, and she also includes a call to action. But she also has 33 mindful practices, things that can help you put into practice the principles that she's talking about in the book. Many of them are quick things that you could even be doing in the classroom. Lots of them you could be doing with students. Lots of them I recognized as things that I have given to students to do, but not necessarily applied to myself. So I'm going to just share a few of these with you. This one was very interesting, and I've actually used it quite a bit, is this My Quick 6. So just 6 things that are really quick and easy to do when you are not feeling grounded. They're suggestions I've been giving to my students for years, and probably things that I have done, like taking my deep breath or taking the time to move. But having a list kind of beside me on my desk is an opportunity to go, okay, personal example, I was in forms for Microsoft, and I totally wrecked the form. I erased stuff that wasn't supposed to be erased, and I was feeling pretty overwhelmed. And it was just a chance to go for a walk to the office, say hi to someone, get a drink of water, even walk around the school. But it was just an opportunity to go, okay, I just need to reset, because keeping going at that point was not going to work. She also has this coloring template. I am a person that enjoys crafts, and I get into the zone where nothing much distracts me when I'm doing a craft. And so that for me was another really helpful one. She has, I would say, of the 33, probably 20 of them online on her website, which I will give you at the end of the day, or the end of the presentation. But she has these practices with just a paragraph describing what they are. But next to them, and we will try this in a minute, there is a link where she speaks the practice. And so you could go on, listen to the practice, even do it as a class with your students, and then it's all talked through for you. I find it difficult to read a practice because I am holding the book and I'm not really grounded and I'm thinking about other things. But if I can close my eyes and someone's speaking to me, then I'm much more apt to do the practice. So we're going to try one. So this one, Giving and Receiving Compassion, is one she has on her website and in the book. Another one is just a self-compassion break. So there's 3 steps that you go through on that one. And this one is only 5 minutes long, and so we're going to try it. It's called Grounding Our Feet. But the Ground Your Feet one is a really easy one. You could do it anytime in the classroom, and it wouldn't even need to take 5 minutes, but it was an opportunity to just feel where you are in space. And I know that's how most of my counseling sessions start. I know that's how yoga starts. It's just an opportunity to just go, where am I? What's happening? So this quote was from her website. Today I choose calm over chaos, serenity over stress, peace over perfection, grace over grit, and faith over fear. And then on this last website, this is her link, and these are in the chat. I hope you can see them at the beginning. I will go to chat right away here, but her website is there. And then in the resource bank, I wanted to reference this, and Melissa helped me. You can go to the hubs, and then there's a hub called Online Professional Learning. And then in there's a hub called Wellness Professional Learning, and Lisa Bayless's site is up there as well right now. And then the last part for today that's formal is this session feedback, and that will also be in the link. So let me just get out to Teams here. Thank you guys so much for coming. Can you see what was in the chat before? I put that in yesterday.
I can't seem to. I seem to just see anything from when I joined.
Okay, I wondered if it would work, and it hasn't. Okay, that's fine. I will put those 3 links in there for you and make sure that I thought I could get ahead of the game, and I can't, obviously, but I'll put them in there. And if you have any feedback, you can provide it there, and then I'll provide the links to those 2 websites. Does anybody have any questions or conversation that they want to do? want to be cognizant of your time.
Oh, this was great. Thank you, Abby.
Well, just a moment to breathe in the middle of a busy day. I know sometimes we need that.
No, your title caught my attention, Abby, and then the fact that you were doing it. And I'm like, I am joining in because I know it's going to be time well spent and get myself in the right frame of mind to address the rest of my day. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Okay. I will sign off now and stop recording, and I will put those things in the link, and then you guys will be able to see them. Take care, everybody.
Thanks so much, Abby. Have a great day.
You too. Bye, guys.